Well, let me hear you say mountain, mountain, mountain.
Hey, what you saying?
Sorry, another light, give thanks.
Serious thing. We're here again, Ballhead and the Dread podcast. Give thanks for everyone tuning in from those times to now. Fight, what we reason about today?
Today, say human beings are very peculiar and probably a wise species. But there's just something about animals we need to study, to develop our craft and always expand upon our craft. And I think there's one animal in particular, which is the eagle, where there's a lot of positive traits so we can take out of the eagle and use towards with daily livelihoods for develop how we go about things. And I think one of them we can start off with talking about bravery in itself.
Serious thing.
Yeah, so there's four from my standpoint. I don't know if you want to add to it, because four of me I think about it is bravery, having vision, embracing challenges, and that form of association slash making testing that worthiness.
The bravery. What was the first one?
Bravery.
Bravery and accepting challenges, guys that both tie into one of the traits I saw him with. We can start with that then, right? The high school I went to, the mascot was an eagle, right? So they used to tell us about this eagles fly alone. And in regards to the challenges of bravery, what I understand, and please don't quote me on it because I didn't, but I know eagles aren't scared of storms like other birds.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, and obviously correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but they like the storm, reason being that it pushes them above the clouds and they get to rest.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess we look at it from a metaphorical standpoint. A lot of times as human beings, we avoid challenges. Now, I want to be clear when I say this. I don't go run into problems, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have these conversations, people would take it out of context. And I'm not telling you to go run into problems, but there are challenges in your life that you know that you should be dealing with, are certain difficult situations, difficult conversations, difficult tasks, right? That you avoid because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, by going through with that experience, you really sharpen your sword. You learn how to deal with more. And also it puts you on a different level. And shockingly enough, it may put you in a different place by dealing with that particular fight. You know how much relationships mess up because people don't want that difficult conversation?
Yes, sir.
Whether you want to do the marriage vibe or personal relationship, or there's a disagreement where people are not talking because they don't have that difficult relationship. You could have been enjoying each other's time for 5, 10, 15 years, but you never want to have that difficult conversation. And now you're just sitting there wasting each other's time.
Yeah, I think it's really fear. So it's like the opposite of bravery, which is fear. Fear. The fear factor in most people's life is that if you have these conversations, it's going to offset what we're used to. So if we're used to this particular thing, we don't know what to expect on that other side or that new phenomena. We don't know what to expect. So I think I would rather avoid that conversation.
Avoid everything,
just so we can stay as things are, even if it's not perfect right now or it's going down the drain or mentally draining.
Yeah.
I would rather live in that thing that is mentally draining as opposed to finding out what's over there, because what if something over there is worse than what I'm currently in?
Facts.
That fear almost hold back people's lives. So I think just like how we talk about the traits of the eagle, if we can understand how the eagle embrace that particular heights and know, say, yo, this is something where I go towards this thing. If a prayer is if a prayer is no matter the size of a prayer, we're gonna take on the prayer. We're gonna deal with this thing because I am the ultimate predator within this situation, and I have to be the one who come out and the winning end, regardless. And the prayer, of course, in a real life, it'll be the situation either you have to really overcome.
No, facts. The unfamiliar territory really scares people. There's one more thing I want to add to the lesson here with the clouds is that at some point within the generations past, the eagles faced the storm.
Yes.
And now it's in the DNA. So this is very beneficial for you to learn certain skills. So it's in your, everybody's talking about this epigenetic fight. Well, I don't think they're really preying it. And they themselves aren't preparing the next generation by certain actions. So if there's a skill you're unfamiliar with, you may want to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be easier or built in already to the DNA of the offspring to come after you.
You know, say from me, a little boy, my mother always tell me and thing, and she say, if you want to go, your nose have to run.
Yeah.
And I think as people we kind of draw away from them type of concept there because we want the good, but we don't want to accept the challenge. We don't want to see the storm.
No,
The storm,
it's full avoidance. We in. What they call it? Risk averse.
something of that
Something
nature.
like that's like the proper term. Fight ain't nobody. But really, like I understand. I'm not laughing. I'm not trying to laugh at you. I'm just saying I understand why. Because it's rough and like people can't deal with things not working out. The thing they expected to work out, they just can't deal with it. But I will tell you this: the more things don't work out for you, it get easier. It get easier.
Yeah.
So might as well get on that train from early. And the wild thing is that as things obviously don't work out the way you intended, you learn so much skills and more things start working out. That's the thing. People don't get to that point where there's another side. You know what I'm saying? Like you got one side where things don't work out and you have another side where things are going to work out, but you don't even engage in the things not working out. So you can't experience things working out. And the things that you claim are working out aren't like anything difficult because anything worth anything on earth is very difficult.
Yeah.
Facts. You get what I'm saying? So like easy stuff, easy peasy. Yeah, you could get it. It's not worth anything. It has no value.
Yeah.
Anything you get easily for it has no value whatsoever.
I think people don't really get the concept there too, because you see the focus is on the rain's so heavy, the winds are blowing at XYZ speed, all of this thing taking place, and nobody can survive this particular thing. So it's the complaint.
It's a benefit to them, fire.
And it become more of a complaining type of culture where we complain about the situation, then we can highlight the bad part of it. And that's why I think, again, we mentioned it in a previous recent time. We even talked about the whole SWOT analysis to where people need to start digging into this SWOT analysis. What type of strengths do I have to overcome this particular storm? What is my weakness that will make me be at a lower point within the storm? Okay, the storm is coming. What is the opportunities that I can embrace, which is what the eagle embrace? Okay, all right, they're going to teach me, as I said, to pass from generation to generation. They're going to teach you some new traits. And then what are the threats? There's certain threats will come to it, and there's always a threat will come to any type of challenge where you take on.
Possibilities, this thing not going to work out, And are you willing to deal with it?
Are you?
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing you have to ask. Like they probably, at some point, they probably said, man, I don't know. Like I'm just bringing out theories, but there had to be a regional ego that had to conquer this thing.
That's like everything in our life. There would have to be like any pharma system we have schools in place, and so many people defend the concept of school. Okay, we need to go to school to get an education. Who was the first person who taught at a school? What was the first school that exists? It's not like from earth come here, then we have a physical school. Yes, there's lessons that are always being learned, but we never have the concept of schools. We are taught about really world religion. It was an interpretation of many different people who come across the concept, and them have the monotheists and the polytheists or whoever who have worshipped different gods. They have different objects who mean different things to them. And after a time, it starts to shape in a mold into a particular institution. Then the same institution of slavery. It was a concept that was brought on by the fourth parents of certain Caucasians at the same time who come and push that, because you have to teach your youth, because remember, you have a plantation. You have to teach your son that particular concept to rule the plantation. Social what type of tactics do we use? And you maintain that, so when you die, that pass on to your family, that keep plantation, the same thing. And so you have to understand that in a life, all of these challenges are going to be there, but how do you overcome? And that's why we look at one of the main predators now who can actually teach you certain traits to overcome.
Yeah. What's the next one for?
I will mention the vision.
Vision, right? Vision, right? Start this one.
I think when it comes to the eagle, I think when it comes to vision, I would have really put USA in the whole thing of this. Not from a necessarily a positive perspective, but just to show the spin of why they're listed as the mighty eagles. Yeah. They have a vision to dominate the world, right? Yeah. And then there are different aspects of that vision where you use to carry out. One, you create a sense of bureaucracy, and that bureaucracy is used to dominate different policies. And then these policies start for, whenever there's civil war, these policies start to have take up a mental toll and dominate civil war. And then the US just swoop in, ban all of these different territories automatically. Mighty Eagle, USA, have a vision, the vision is fulfilled. So as any individual now, once a lot of people can see, you know, enough people go at the ophthalmologist and get glasses, but they don't have vision because vision is something special. You have to know, what do you want? How do I plan to accomplish it? And this is my prayer. My prayer is the prayer now is a representation of whatever I want to get in life now. This is what I'm going for. Okay, where does this live? Okay, just like the eagle said, this my prayer is the fish will live in the water. Yeah, we're going to spot it out from way in the air. We're zoning in and so focus on this particular thing that nothing can take us off track. So something where we come to vision, we need to ensure so we can be focused and zoned in regardless of all of the external things taking place around we. I will know what we want, we definitely gonna achieve it regardless of what come our way, you know?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest accomplishments of societies is keeping the people short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, destroying their ability to have vision because people can't see past their circumstances.
Facts.
They can't see past their certain location. You know what I'm saying? Like, just they can't see anything more. And I think those who are able to do it, as well as locking onto, because this is the thing too, far. Like, you can have a vision, right? But I think what separates the men from the boys, as they would say, or the women from the girls, is that you're locked in on that vision, right? As well as you have the skill of flexibility, but you're still locked on the vision, right? Because I think people think this thing is just a straight shot, and there may be a lot of deviation before you get it, but you're locked on that vision. And I think that's a trait that everyone needs. And you know, Garvey speaks about it, Brother Amos Wilson. Everyone speaks about like visionless people. You have no vision. And one of the biggest problems I think people have with goal setting is they just don't have a goal. You know what I'm saying? Like the goal can't be like just to be rich. It's like, why? I remember I had a friend. I had a friend, he didn't understand what I said. He understood it later, but when I told him, he didn't understand it. But we spoke about it. He said it finally clicked. So he was just saying how he wanted all this money, right? And I just asked him, sometimes I used to burn herb. And I just asked him, like, why? But he couldn't answer. And years later, he understood because it's like, why? What's the plan to do with the money?
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like you need a purpose because remember, if you have a goal without a purpose, without the vision, you're not gonna endure to get to that goal for you. Because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that takes place prior to you getting to that spot. So like that's why you need the purpose and the aspect, and like, you know, you need goals. But it's funny how when we quiet ourselves and pay attention to nature, you can learn so much. Because we could do 1,000 episodes on stuff I learned from nature, just observing and how they interact. And I'm glad you brought up the eagle. And it's funny how things connected because I had the experience with the eagle. You just had the experience with the eagle. But what's the next one?
Before we left that, before we even go up on the last one, the dimension something and about the goal part of the thing. And I think when it comes to the vision and goal, these are two things that are heavily tied together, right? Yeah. And I think with vision, with the goal setting part of it is when you have a vision in mind, goal setting is not something that you just do. It's not a linear type of thing. You have to be careful with the goal setting. You need to have not just goals, but smart goals. And there's two aspects of smart goals where I think a lot of people need for zoning pan. One, you need to be specific.
Yeah.
Because if you're not specific, then the other part of it is measurable.
Yeah.
So if it's not specific, then it can't be measurable. How do you measure something that is not specific?
Yeah.
If you say, okay, I want to do this, say, all right, I want to take a walk.
Yeah.
A walk every single day. What type of walk do you want to take? What is the benefit of the walk?
Yeah.
You understand? So as opposed to being specific and say, all right, I want to walk 1 mile every day. You see me? I say, and when I walk 1 mile every day, I will burn X amount of calorie, and this X amount of calorie that I'll be burning will be opposing the amount of calorie intake that I make. Yeah. And I will be doing this for 5 months. And then the measurable part now come in. Where did you fall on that? Were you consistent enough?
Yeah.
What was the outcome of that? What was the benefit of that? That will help your vision. So I think enough people misunderstand the concept of vision too. But you know, the next point we did for bring across out of the 4 is testing someone to see their worthiness. And I feel that's something with the eagle
That's what the female eagle is on,
female,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where the female eagle test always give the male eagle a test to see if they're worthy of being their partner.
That's why. No, that's wild. That's a universal law because it's like, man, worthiness. Like we got people around us that's not worthy of our presence.
Facts.
It sounds that way still, but it is though.
Now the reality.
So it's like, and this ties into in regards to the flying alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when we say flying alone, we're not talking about being a loner or nothing, right? But the eagle is on a one-way vibe. They do interact, but it seems I would have to check my information, but it seems like I'm not sure if they interact with other birds, but they interact with only eagles. So I take it that's like a like-minded vibe. That'd be like the kind of lesson for that, But yeah, back to this thing. I'm gonna tie both of them together. A lot of people aren't worthy of your presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people hold on to relationships that are totally toxic for whatever reason. I don't know, like if it's loneliness, I don't know. People feel entitled to people too, like especially when you grow up with people. Like why y'all grew apart, yeah? You get what I'm saying? If you're on a different vibe, maybe I could pass through it, a quick, but you're not gonna be out here draining my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm thinking about this and you over here with this, like I don't see the point of the interaction.
Yeah. There's levels.
And you can't see the vision and you can't see the mission, or back we were talking about the grudgeful thing earlier. Grudgeful, you feel a vibe because I'm trying to be progressive. It's just they don't need people hold on to a lot of bad relationships with this friends and family thing for whatever. I don't know what they think they're accomplishing. Fight, you're not accomplishing nothing because the reality is majority of people not changing.
Mm-hmm.
You waiting for this change that's not going. They don't have the capability of changing.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just accept them for who they are and just accept that like they're not, that may not be the best relationship for what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to be around. Listen, this is a serious thing. And I've learned this from personal experience. It's very important to be around progressive people.
Yeah, then I push it away, show me a friend and tell you who you are. That is where
you get what I'm
people
saying?
used to say.
You really need to be around progressive people. And like most people flop themselves out by their company.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're trying to save everybody and help everybody. I'm not saying cut people off, but you got to minimize interaction because it's just an energy vibe when you're around people doing stuff. Right? And it's not even a competition thing, it's an expectation. You get what I'm saying? It's like an expectation of excellence and people just it's a different conversation. You could be amongst people. You could be, Friday, I don't even chill. Listen, man, I don't chill around no dudes like that because I'm not talking about no sports, right? We're not talking about no whoring. I don't want to hear it. That's not with the mission. Now we talking about some development, getting some money or doing some things. I'm there for that conversation. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons you won't just find me around dudes just talking because the average dude talk pure foolishness. And it's toxic to the brain. It's like detrimental to my brain, that level of conversation. This is all day, every day, all they talk about. How is that beneficial to me? So me being a smart person that loves myself and knows what's good for myself, I just distance myself. Now, some people may interpret it any way. They may say I'm a loner, I'm hype, I'm this and that, regardless, but I know what's best for me. And I know being in that environment and being exposed to that level of conversation is not beneficial to me. So I just distance myself.
Something I realized after recently. I talked to myself about this like a couple nights though. You see, you mentioned something a while ago, and it's very crucial. And there's levels to the whole thing, right? And there's certain, I think, from my personal experience, right? Sometimes I tend to go around different types of people to get back a reality check and fall back in line, and then that's where you truly understand the whole levels that is there. Because some conversation we are talking about, some conversation with one particular type of people is strictly non-progressive. I think I do it mostly from an artistic perspective, right? In terms of whenever I write and all of these different things, it's something where cling on towards my artistic process, where I need to understand what take place in the minds of different people, in a sense where not necessarily just having them as an understudy, but kind of share my energy with them and see where their mindset is at. And I can tell people that dealing with people on all different levels, some of them who is not as progressive tend to drain their energy regardless of the reason why I talk to them. So when it comes to even tying it back to the whole concept of the eagle and testing worthiness, one, you have to test people with their own.
True.
Because if you don't test people with their people with their own, then you get in trouble because times of need might come and you might fall up in your face, and you have to realize that you have certain circles where you shouldn't be in, because if you're in a situation, you would never ever nobody would ever lift you up.
They can't help you. I want to say one thing and clarify a thing, because I don't want to sound this like no elitist argument. I'm not saying because you're in a certain circle, like people can't drain your energy.
No, facts.
All right, I just want to make that clear. All type of people can drain your energy.
No,
but we're
facts.
talking about a conversation related to the birds, like-minded people in regards to progression.
Yeah, progress
All
are the thing, you know, because
I had to
nothing.
clear the conversation. Right? You know how people,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? So I
Because they
had
might
to
think
put-
about like money and,
Yeah.
and a particular status vibes, but not understanding. It's just progress, because not because a man not financially successful, even as you mean say him not progressive.
No.
My progressive in him thought,
Yeah, big
him
time.
reasoning might give you a different energy.
Yeah.
Him soul might give you a different energy. And that in itself is enough progress within a year circle.
Yeah.
While somebody can be financially stable
Drain
and,
out your energy,
drain
saying
all their
pure
energy,
foolishness,
because
they
what
talking
they're
saying about
talking
that.
about, them not talk about nothing way crucial, because for them success is based off there is like a feeder success in a sense. Like, you know, most people on YouTube, most people, all right, perfect example. When everybody can vex who want to vex. Most people up on YouTube wouldn't have a career if it wasn't them feeding off of somebody else's career. And that is the reality. Like, if somebody now pregnant for baby father, or them mix up or whatever, them not have a career. And that in itself, they could be making a lot of money off of that. Is that necessarily progress in my eyes?
Yeah.
No, it's not progress necessarily in my eyes, because it's more a type of disruptive type of toxic culture that we kind of maintaining. So I think just to emphasize on what I just said a while ago, I think that is very important to clarify too. And when we talk about the eagle and utilizing the skills of the eagle, it's more like developing oneself so we can lead to a further development on a more ecosystem, and build an ecosystem amongst ourselves where we can use to drive forward, just like our eagle have a very efficient system that work for them.
Yeah. No, serious thing. And just like there's so many aspects of nature you can observe to learn, but it's just you just have to quiet yourself and just look, you know, because I was on this is a different conversation. I'm just gonna throw this out there though, but I forgot who I was reading to. They was talking about the sun, you know, the sun and why people worship the sun and the consistency of the sun. They were talking about the lesson of the consistency and the preciseness of the sun.
Well, regardless of which God you praise, you can praise God, any God from now till the morning.
Yeah.
What is the ultimate source will give you life?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate source will give you life. And if you think about any religion, all of my theologists, brethren, you can wait upon this conversation.
Yeah.
Regardless of which God you worship, every religion, the God has aspects and reflections of the sun. You can think back to the old days of Kemet, Ra, and all of these different things. You want to think about the concept of the beginning of Christianity before it even reached to the Orthodox, pass over to the Orthodox stage within Ethiopia.
Yeah.
You think about the concept of Islam when it just started. You think about the concept of Judaism. Anything you want to think about, the reflection of the sun is within every religion. The concept of every religion and the deities within that religion. So you can't go around it.
No, facts. And it's just like, you know, think about it, man. Anyone listening, just think about the consistency of the sun. Think about if you were as consistent as the sun and the things you want to do in your
Show up
life.
every day.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You showed up every day like the sun. Because the sun there still, regardless of the clouds of what's going on. But the sun itself shows up to work every day. And the preciseness of the sun. Because anytime that sun deviate from that fight, we're not going to be here.
Well, I'm telling you, man.
You know? So it's just like, that's something you should consider.
Observe nature, man, and know why.